Are you
Yes.
already started? Okay.
Hey
Okay.
everyone, I'm Amanda,
And I'm Sarah.
and this is I'm Your Mother Now podcast.
Episode 8.
You did it!
I did it.
Yay!
I did it.
Yay!
I did
Oh, I'm so
it.
proud. You
Oh,
finally did it. Good job.
we did it. We almost missed the introduction altogether because I
That's
just
you're like, I have so much
listen.
energy. I am like so ready to just like chat about things, and I'm like, oh, okay,
Okay,
let's
Amanda's like,
go.
oh God, why am I here? Um, yeah, so when we were talking last week about the menstrual cycles, right? And just to kind of follow up, guys, I am ovulating. Okay. I would make a baby with a couch if it looked at me right. Okay. Do you understand?
I no, I do understand. I do.
So this
Yeah.
this is good. I mean,
Yes.
we'll see how it ends up for me this weekend, but it is. I think it feels good.
Raymore and Flanagan better watch out.
Oh my god! Oh,
Jeez.
ah.
Okay.
For those of you listening and not watching, Sarah's ovulating.
This is the way that what do we get rid of all the men, right? We start the episode talking about a
Yeah.
cycle, like, ugh, and it's like, all
Bye.
right, ladies, now it's just us.
Although this would probably be the wrong one to get rid of the men, because as I'm like, ooh, I'd have sex with the couch, and you're like, ooh, okay,
Yeah, yeah.
and then
Good
what?
with the bad, as they say.
Yeah. But just we have actually my sister created something called a outline box. What'd you call it?
I call that a grid.
A
I call
grid.
it a grid. Yeah.
My sister created a grid, which I fully didn't understand how to use clearly, but it's meant to give us a container for our thoughts to kind of like rein this in. All right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I'm starting this episode 8, with a little bit differently because, and I'm going to kind of tone down my energy just for a few minutes because this isn't sexy, but it's kind of serious. So things in the world are really, really shitty right now. And I have noticed since last week with my clients a, very, very increased anxiety level, nihilistic kind of vibes, just like, what are we doing here? Why is everybody going crazy thing? And like, we go through these cycles daily because it seems like every week we have a new thing to be like, well, what the fuck is this? But I want to talk to you guys about this because back in the day, back when I was not doing podcasts, not a therapist, and just doing normalized magic stuff, I would get on here a lot and talk to you guys about the energy and like walking through this energy. What do we need to do to support ourselves? Why is all this happening? And just kind of be in that space with you. And I really felt called to do that again this week because it is just so much. And I think we need to all just take a moment and remember what we're doing here and maybe ground into that space. So, with everything that's happening, isn't it so easy to kind of lose your humanity and kind of lose your spot and just not understand why any of these things are happening and what you're supposed to do? And I had a lot of clients this week kind of come in and say, well, what do I do? What am I supposed to do? And the tough thing about it is we don't have a definitive answer because we've never been in a time like this. Definitely humans have lived through genocides and political uprisings and upheavals, obviously, like it's happening all the time, but it's never been broadcast 24/7 in front of your face, like inches away from your face, without any time to sit with it and integrate and think. And add to that the fact that there's absolutely no filter or vetting on any facts, right? You can be flooded with so much information that makes you absolutely terrified. And I found that to be true this week too, where a lot of my clients were under the impression that certain services that they wanted to get were not going to be available to them because of what had happened already. And I said, guys, where did you even hear that? Because that's not happening. And something that I was saying over and over again this week is people working in at the state, helping with people with SNAP benefits and healthcare and stuff. These are the people who make no money and are there because they want to help you, right? They're not the ones saying, "Oh no, like we don't want to give you your money." Everyone's working overtime and trying so hard to like make everything work. So figure out what's true as much as you can, right? Fact check before you freak out. Because if
Mm,
you don't, you're just going to be spin cycling constantly without grounding. So fact check before you freak out. And if someone around you is freaking out, remind them, hey, let's fact check this before we freak out, right?
yes.
And a freak out is sometimes warranted. I mean, I think there's plenty of things to freak out about, but it doesn't serve anything. It's
Right.
not going to actually do anything. I also read an article that I wanted to share, and I'm not going to take up the whole podcast with this, but this is the last thing I kind of wanted to leave with you guys. There's an astrologer. His name is Evan Nathaniel Grimm, and he's one of the few TikTok astrologers that I still kind of keep a pulse on because I find him to be very unsensational, right? And he
Mm-hmm.
has a Substack where he sends out a newsletter in addition to doing like his updates and stuff. And he says down here, he said something so like when he was talking about all the transits. I'm going to link this um in the episode and also in our stories so that you can read the whole thing because it kind of goes through all the transits and talks about those things if you're interested in that. But he says you can either obsess over the waves or keep your eyes on the horizon. And that's kind of what I want to leave you guys with today, right? Don't let the state of things make your heart hard.
Yeah.
Lose your softness. Don't lose your ability to love. Like that is how this wins by turning
Mm-hmm.
you into who you're not. So stay strong in that. Grab the people who make sense to you now, keep them close, foster those relationships, create your magic, do things that make you happy. If you have the ability to live your life in a comfortable way, I really think you should be doing that.
Yeah.
You really should be doing that because we're going to be needed on the other side of this to rebuild. So if
Yeah.
we completely destroy ourselves right now and we're just frayed facsimiles of ourselves at the end of this, we're going to be no good for anybody. We're here for a reason, and that reason is going to be building something new. So take care of yourself now and just remind yourself of your why and like have those touchstones. So I want to leave that with you this morning before we get into some lighter topics. Amanda,
Yes.
anything?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, you're
That was
welcome.
good. That's very good grounding, Sarah. I love listening to you. It's like
Oh
it's
my,
so special.
oh, shut the fuck up.
I just love you so much. I just want to
Oh.
grab you through the Instagram live. Um, yeah. So I guess looking to the horizon, right? Um, so this is episode 8, and exciting things to come. I think if we're looking at our next couple of months, we've got a trip planned for someone's
Someone
birthday.
has a birthday.
Someone has
Scorpio
a
season.
birthday. Yeah. So that's really exciting. And then also, I have just been kind of reflecting a little bit too on the process because how fun has this been? This this like little creative outlet for us that's like we're like we're in September, right? So we haven't even been like maybe it's been like 3.5 months, but I actually put together a cute little video of BTS that I will share after this.
What's an
Of us
ETS?
BTS.
Oh, BTS, behind the
Yes,
scenes.
yes, of like just the evolution of when we were like getting together and we were trying to figure out how to make some content and then like editing all of our stuff in Canva and like going back and forth and just was that last week when in the group chat with my husband we put the when you're the only one working in the group project because I just had such see that was like my energy was like really going into like the post production episode stuff over the past couple of weeks. But anyhow, so this has been super fun. I feel like it has been really nice to have something outside of what I do like in my 9 to 5 and to have like another just an outlet. I'm just gonna keep saying outlet. I think the name of the episode should be
An
just
outlet to plug
outlet.
into.
I don't want to be plugged into.
Oh, it's like the opposite of an
You
outlet.
would say that.
I would say, I know because I'm so awful today. I'm so sorry.
Oh my God,
I'm
Sarah.
sorry to
Um,
everybody I run into this weekend.
you even have like a shit-eating grin on your face too, and I know you're not meaning to do it, but it's really funny.
I know.
Anyhow, so let's just keep this going. But I feel like one of the very cool parts for me has been just looking at everything through a different lens, right? Because ever since we started, I'm your mother now, and we've been having all of these conversations. We're talking a lot about like people's origin stories, right? Like, when does it start? And when I was a freshman in college, actually, one of my very first English classes, and I'm just remembering this is actually kind of tying into my next story, was about nature versus nurture. And
Uh-huh.
I had never thought about that before, ever. I'm sure if I look for a flash drive somewhere, that paper is there because I didn't want to lose it. Um, but I feel like that's kind of how we are looking at everything these days, is not only like the actions, but just kind of behind like the people and the why and all of that. And yeah, so now we tease this. Oh yeah, we tease it. We're
What's
going
the
back
damn
into the
story, girl?
archives. I mean, listen, I am going to take what could be a short story and make it a little bit longer.
Right.
But I would
For
also
you
like to
guys.
preface this by just saying, like, I've had just a lot of thoughts lately. Like, this phase of life that I am in, the phase of life that my son is in, he just turned 4, and we're having all these like intellectual conversations, and I'm always finding myself in a position where I'm making a decision, and the right one, whatever, seems very obvious to me. And then it makes me think about how I was treated when I was a child. Then,
Right.
what did the adults say to me, et cetera, et cetera. So I've been on like a real journey of my own, that has resulted in lots of other um, FaceTimes, long FaceTimes.
Yeah, we're on such different tracks right now, but yes.
Yeah. Mm. Long FaceTimes, voice notes, very scattered notes. But anyhow, I was getting ready the other day, and this story just randomly popped into my brain about ninth grade English class when I was in high school. Okay.
Sure.
So, how old are you in ninth grade? You're like 14,
Ish.
right? So, I'm going to give you a little bit of context about me in ninth grade, okay? Because I wasn't like a typical ninth grader, right?
She was a
It's not,
cool ninth grader.
no, no. We might say that like, though, yeah, those are typical. This is typical to be cool. I was,
It was a Mean Girls reference, Amanda.
I'm sorry, I didn't get it. Okay, I can't catch everything, Sarah.
Okay, okay, no, I'm
Anyhow,
sorry.
all I'm saying is that you would think that by the time you get to high school, you are in like a very seasoned time of going to school, being in that chapter. Like you're like looking ahead, right? At this point, once you get to high school, assuming I don't know
I
what
don't
you're
know, girl, but
I don't know what
okay.
you're looking at.
I
You're
don't
looking at
know.
something. No, I think you are, because I think when you enter high school, you're like, oh, like I'm gonna be an adult soon. Like I'm gonna go off to college in just a couple of years.
I'm
Anyhow,
I'm gonna I'm gonna follow you, but I'm not sure that I agree, but go on.
well,
Audience
again,
members, what do you think?
dif- different journeys, different strokes
Yes.
for different folks, is what we
Yes,
might say.
yes.
Um,
Absolutely.
but I was homeschooled, right? As were
Uh,
you. You may
well,
have
yeah.
remember from being there.
I was
Um,
homeschooled more than you.
it's not a competition, honestly. Unless maybe that's what I needed, Sarah. I just need a little more
A
homeschooling.
little more.
That's what I needed. I went to Catholic school in 6th grade. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so
Yep.
that was my first like foray into school, Catholic school, from a
Yeah, I
non-religious.
remember we had the cute little uniforms.
I know. We did. We took a lot of pictures.
It was
I think
so
going
cute.
into like whatever that was. I was going into 6th grade. Were you going into like Ninth
I
grade?
would, yeah, I think when I did Catholic school, it was ninth grade.
Okay,
Yeah.
which would make sense because
No,
you have
it might have been 10th.
yeah, whatever. We don't need to
Yeah.
get into it. So I went into sixth grade. I did all the things, right? Like I was on the basketball team, even though I was like very non-athletic, like just all I just did
Probably
all these
short.
things. Just yeah, but everyone was kind of small. I mean, people were starting to grow then. Um, but I ended up getting sick. Like I was just sick. I don't know. I don't remember what type of illness I had, but I was like out of school for a while, and then we just like pulled me out. So I did like maybe a quarter of a year, if that, um,
At Catholic
in,
school.
in Catholic school in sixth grade. And then we
Okay.
just decided to take the next year off, right? So we just skipped seventh grade.
As one does.
And then I decided I wanted to go back to school. And I was like, let's go to public school this time, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I went to
Yeah.
public school for eighth grade for 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember I went in there for like an assessment. Like I needed to be dropped off at the middle school for assessment. And I was like in the like principal's office, like doing like blah 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 blah, blah to make sure that I was like smart enough to be in public school. And the principal came in and was like, "It's lunchtime, so why don't you come out and have lunch?" And I was like, "I'd rather starve, thank you."
With like all
But
these kids.
she actually escorted me to the cafeteria and just brought me in and was like, "Here, like you can go get lunch there." Um, that was traumatic because I was like, I don't know any of these kids, right? I've had a real time in school.
Yeah, this story is going in so many directions.
It really is, but it's all coming back to
It's all
my.
coming back to me. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm actually remembering some of these details as I'm telling you the
I know
story.
this is good therapy for you.
Yeah. Okay. So then going into high school, right? But
Yeah.
all of the friends that I met in eighth grade, they all were all going to the other high school. All right, so now I've now started again, right? So I'm like, all right, here I am with my new group of friends. So this is where I am, okay, in ninth grade, English class, and the assignment is to tell a story about your family.
Oh God.
It could be anything. We could be talking about how grandma used to can tomatoes, if that was like. And now that I'm thinking about it, we could have just made something up.
That's always an
Turns out,
option.
turns out that stranger than fiction is what we went with here because I was in our house trying to figure out, like, I felt like I didn't really know any stories that were like that made sense for me to go up in front of a class of my peers because I had to. Oh, this wasn't just a paper, like this was a presentation. I don't know if I left that part out, but like this was like legit. You had to take the story about your family, you had to write it, and then you had to present it.
Wow. Way to just like fuck up a kid's life in ninth grade.
No, like yeah. So anyhow, the bright idea that came out of whatever brainstorming workshop shopping session we had, at Ridge Tree Lane was that we were going to tell the story about,
Well, hold
um,
on. How did that even happen? Like, did you ask mom?
yeah,
So you said, Mom, I have this assignment. Like, what story should I do?
yeah. I was like, I don't know what to talk about.
Okay. And she's like, I know.
She's like, yeah, you could tell the story about your paternal grandparents and how your grandfather's first wife died, um, and as tradition states, he married her sister, who was our grandmother, who was 13, and he was 33.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, like, this story, like, just, it didn't age well, right?
It,
it's, it's,
yeah, it's historical.
it is. And to be fair, like, we're talking about, like, the early 1900s here, right?
Well, yes, we are in a very different cultural uh, grid, as you say.
Right. So maybe I think now that we've talked through this, there could have been a different lens that we put on the story. We could have
Well,
told it from an angle of like, this is how things used to be. Like, isn't that crazy? And not
it
like,
could, yes, yes. It could have been a
and
really cool presentation, but instead
yeah,
it just felt traumatic for you. Like, did you actually give this presentation?
I did.
Are you
I mean,
kidding me?
there has to be no, I did. So I gave this presentation. Um, and then one this kid in my class was like, that's kind of fucked up.
Hmm.
And I was like, I didn't really know why. And I was like, well, thank God that is over.
So,
Um,
okay. Um, Side note, do you know the whole story?
so I
Because I
would
do.
be, I would be open to like corrections of my recollection, right? Because I think that I've gotten like the telephone, they're like the telephone version, right? And now in my head too, of just like, I remember the age gap. I remember like that, there was a period of time where I don't know, we were waiting for her to be old enough to have children.
Sure. Okay. So for a little bit of context, right? Our paternal grandfather was a diplomat
Ooh, you're
in
getting into
in
it.
yeah, well, because I did get into it. Our paternal grandfather was a diplomat. He was pen pals with Gandhi, and they lived in what was at that time Myanmar, Burma. Okay, and he was the Indian diplomat. Okay, so they were Indians over there. So when you back then, right, when with arranged marriages, when you would contract a wife, part of the contract is that if there were other daughters, that was your insurance policy. Okay, because women are objects. I don't know if you guys know this, but women are and still are, because that's why we have to say, oh, hey, can we control our own bodies? Is that cool with you? So
SOS.
anyhow, yes, yeah. So like I kind of want to just throw that in there before like everyone's like, oh my God, wow, it used to be so terrible. Like, bitch, it's terrible now. Okay. At least
Yeah,
back then it was very clear how it was, right? So anyhow,
that's fair.
our grandfather married his first wife, right? And she died, but she had had two kids already. They had to have two kids together. But she died, and as the insurance policy goes, her sister then was given to him, but she was 13. Now, the thing that we didn't like you wouldn't have known about the story too was that our grandmother, which was a 13-year-old, was in love with this other guy, this
What?
little
I didn't
boy.
know this part of the story.
That's why I think you're gonna enjoy it. So um she had like you know a little kid romance, but 13 was absolutely marrying age back then. So um it wasn't like she was well, she was a child, but still, like, this was somebody she wanted to marry, right? And he was a jeweler's son. He was becoming a jeweler. And if you don't know, people might not know a lot about Burma, but one of the features of Burma are these mines where they have these gorgeous blood red rubies called pigeon's blood rubies. They're very rare and they're only found in those mines. So she had this like person that she wanted to marry and she couldn't because she was given to somebody else. But
Mm.
he is the one who gave her that necklace,
What?
the little heart necklace. So if you, and I have it. So if you look at the heart necklace really closely, you'll see it has a tiny little pigeon's blood ruby, but around it is a like filigree stamp. Like it's a heart shaped necklace and it's a kid size necklace. You maybe, I don't know if you realize that, but it's like very, very little, like the chain and everything. And if you look at it, you can tell that it was done by somebody who wasn't super skilled yet because it's crooked.
Interesting.
So she kept that. That was a very prized possession for her. I'm sure she had lots and lots of other jewelry, right? But that was something that she really kept. And our grandfather, for the times, he wasn't a monster. He didn't marry a 13-year-old and was like, like
Yeah.
he married her and then basically, I mean, this is not better, but he married her and basically raised her, and then
Right.
you know whatever. And our grandmother has had a terrible reputation for being quite a bitch, but I think that part of that was probably because she didn't get to do anything she wanted,
Yeah,
and
probably.
she stayed Arrested Development at 13 years old because that was the age where her life was out of her control. And I think a lot of our mothers are arrested development between 13 and 16 because that was the time when their life went out of control and they never regained it. So they're just like running around like little 15-year-olds being absolute psychopaths, right?
Yeah.
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 So, but
Damn.
anyway, that's the extra part of that story because a lot of people don't know that, right?
No.
Yeah,
No.
because remember I went on that wild goose chase about the rubies years ago, and I talked to Uncle Jawar, and he told me all of those things. Because
Wow.
our dad doesn't remember shit all about anything apparently. Because I'm like, Dad, do you remember the rubies? He's like, what rubies? I'm like, are you?
It's like the polar opposites our parents. It's like dad will say nothing and then our mother will tell you this whole
Wait,
story.
about something that's not even her family or her history or her
She'll
culture
tell
because
you,
she's Puerto Rican. Little known
yeah, and she'll
fact.
tell you this. No, but she'll tell you the story about how the stork was actually supposed to take her to India, but then it stopped in Cuba and got drunk, and it couldn't make it all the way, so it just dropped her in Puerto Rico. The skies were crazy in the 50s, let me tell you. Like over the Caribbean,
With drunk storks
the
just
way that
stopping
the
off.
storks were just getting Cuba Libres, like it was a different time, Sarah.
What the fuck?
No, I actually overheard her telling someone that story at a party, and I was like, what's happening right now?
So
And
many times.
it was just like this little creative outburst that she had that she needed to share. And so she was just telling people, and they were just like, well, what's happening? Because first of all, like, we know that there's no stork. Sorry to any of our listeners if you think that you were brought via stork. Um,
Because we're adults and we know how it works. Is that why?
Literally, if you were dropped in Puerto Rico in the 1950s, you may be entitled to compensation.
You might be from India.
Oh
You might be from
my
India.
god.
Oh, that is so deeply wild. Everything is, but I think so. We're like kind of like circling back to though, why did why did you want to share that story with us today?
Because I felt like there were so many other appropriate stories that could have been shared to
Any,
me, right? And
any.
that was the lens, right? It was like thinking about like how was there was an adult in the room who was like, go uh go present this in front of your entire class. Good luck. A class of your
Yes,
peers who have no idea who you are, right? Like if you think about like now, like Lucas is going to be going into kindergarten and he's going to be like in middle school, and like at some point, like even in high school, like all these kids have met each other at some point, right? And it's like if they don't
right.
like each other, it's because they didn't like each other before. You know, being the new kid is one thing. Being the new kid who comes in with this freaking story,
Is another.
no,
And you don't walk in like at that age, like at 13 and 14, you don't have the perspective to own a room, right? Like
no,
you don't want to own a room. You want to like not be seen in the room most of the time, right? Depending on what's going on. And
right.
she's just and but I think it's also important to note, as I don't know if it was like clear enough, but we had a pretty unconventional upbringing because we were homeschooled for like the earliest part of our time, and we were in a cult, right? So we were homeschooled cult bitches.
I mean, I guess, but you know
No,
what's interesting
no, you
about that
don't guess.
too?
That's true.
What's interesting about that too is that I continued the narrative that I heard like spoken, right? So if anyone
Sure.
was like, "What? But the girls, like, how are they getting socialized?" And I'm like, "No, I was perfectly socialized. I was perfectly socialized at ice skating. I think that's the other part too is that I was walking into that ninth grade English class like if I'm feeling away, it's because I don't know. It's my own fault because I'm perfectly socialized. should be great. This shouldn't be shocking my body to its core.
Yes. But I also think that this is also a good example of how, you can have two kids and they need different things to,
Right.
like, they need different skill sets helped with, right? Because you and I have always been very, very different. And we had a whole, like, when you're starting high school, I'm ending high school.
Right.
So we
Yeah.
weren't in the same space at all. So we were raised like pretty differently, and we're just different kind of people. So when you look at, like, I look at my kids, like Eli and Justin are also very different people. As they grow, they're going to need very different things from me because they're not the same person, right?
Right.
They're just, although they're very different than you and I were, that's for sure. But what I'm saying is I didn't have that same experience because when I went into a school situation, like when I went into Sacred Heart to the Catholic school, I was very confident. I was like, I dressed up for my interview. I was quoting Jane Austen. I was like, yeah, you're lucky to have me here. I belong here. You don't tell me what. Like, I was the most confident, and I found that as I progressed into like regular high school and everything, my confidence decreased.
Yeah.
My love of reading decreased.
Yes. I found that same. Yeah. I found that as well.
Yeah. And I found
Definitely.
my peers really lacking in
Yeah.
emotional intelligence, regular intelligence. Like, I couldn't relate to them very well because I was just like, why are we talking about this? Like, oh, you shoplifted from CVS. Like, that was exciting for you. Like, I wasn't, it was hard to connect with other people.
Mm.
So I would just leave high school and get on my computer and just do my online role playing with my online friends, like world build with them. Right. And
Sure.
shout out to Nicole if you're listening, because Nicole and I have like kept the slightest bit of contact all through the years. We even still role played in college, okay? Like,
Wait,
yes,
someone that you met in a chat room?
absolutely. I definitely met Nicole in an AOL chat room when I was probably 11 or 12 at best.
Wow. Wow, you
And
should have gotten in way more trouble than you did.
I got in a lot of trouble, Amanda, which is another podcast episode, not this one. I got in a lot of trouble, but not with Nicole. But Nicole lived in, I think Nicole lived in Queens. So she wasn't like that far away. So I would like go into the city and hang out with Nicole sometimes. And I
Oh,
actually took Nicole's best friend, Esther, to prom. Yeah. So anyhow, I met Nicole in a chat room. We started role playing together, and we role played for like a decade, like hardcore. We created sagas, generations of families that would then interact with each other. Like, oh man, we were like the deepest. We were the
that's
deepest.
so funny because for those of you, well, none of you may know this, but Sarah loves to name things, and she was always name every single like pet or anything that came into the house. You always had a name for it, probably from one of your worlds.
Yeah, I had little boxes. I had little tin boxes with faces I would draw, and they would be my characters, and I'd name them and I'd put them in the boxes, and then when I'd make stories, I'd pull them out.
And I was just like, well, I was just sitting in my room staring at a wall, man.
Playing Call of Duty.
It was actually called SOCOM back then on
Oh,
like the
so
PlayStation
calm.
1. Like you had to have the real dial up thing. Yeah. But I was playing with people I knew, Sarah. I was playing with like people I went to high school with,
Well,
even.
I ended up knowing the people I was playing with eventually.
Well, I mean, now what are we if not girls sitting in a chat room asking people to be our friends?
Thank you.
That's why you're so
Do you
good
want
at
to
this.
play with us?
Well, there she comes again. We're gonna have to figure out, is it Patricia? Is that
Oh,
Patricia
no.
finding her way out?
Patricia is not here for me during this time of the month.
I
Like,
know. I want to
this is
know who the.
Trisha. It's
Okay, I was
Trisha.
like, is it Patty?
She's a
Is it
slut.
T? Oh my god. All right, sis. Well, this feels like a good time for us to wrap this up. What do you say?
Does it indeed?
I mean, I feel
Oh,
like we gave
yes.
some really, really good background on that picture
Yeah,
that
yeah,
we
no.
showed that I have no idea where that's from. Oh, I actually do. I don't know why we're standing there. So the picture that we posted for this episode that I think we're going to make the episode art, which is Sarah and I must be like, I don't know,
10
10, 11 years
ish.
old. And we're just like taking a picture and we're in the woods. And I put the filter that we use on everything on it and it turned the green woods red. And it looked so sinister that I was just literally cackling. And I was like, this is perfect for this. But I believe that that was after an ice skating competition, actually.
I think that you must have been a little younger than 10 because when I look at me in that picture, I think I'm probably around 11, 12.
That's what you looked like when you were 12 years old?
That's why I got all the 30-year-olds, baby.
All right. It sounds like we need to do like a part two, or we're gonna have to look at the cycle calendar and we're gonna figure out when the energy is right to pick up where this conversation has ended.
Yeah, maybe when Patricia comes out, it would be a really nice skating time for me to get into that. Or this time of the month is so great. I feel really happy today. But
I'm glad.
yeah, thank you. But anyway, yes. Did we fill out the grid though?
Sarah, no, you didn't. It literally says Sarah, and then there's one thing that I wrote there.
Okay, did you hit all your grid points?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Do you feel satisfied?
I was like, fill out the grid. Do you want me to fill it out as we're going? What are you saying? And then she's like, we used it. We used your tool, and it literally just says Sarah. She doesn't
But
have it.
that's okay.
It's fine. It's fine. I think it worked. It worked.
It was so great. All right. Well, anyway, guys, thanks so much for being here with us today. Remember, you can either obsess over the waves or keep your eyes on the horizon.
Aye, aye, Captain.
All right. Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to I'm Your Mother Now podcast, an Amala Moon production. If you loved today's episode, make sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and if I've done the RSS feed properly, wherever you get your pods. You can follow us on Instagram at IYMN_podcast to watch us live on Friday mornings and catch the full episodes on our YouTube channel, I'm Your Mother Now podcast. We'd love if you could share this with a friend who'd vibe with the conversation. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps more people to find us. We'll see you next week. Bye.